Hi, I'm Dan Hegstead. Welcome to my vlog and podcast, Next Steps, Tools for Transforming from Coping to Thriving. Today, I want to talk about your thinker, your brain, because this is absolutely critical to everything else we discuss. This is the second part of the book. It's the second vlog and podcast because you need to know this part before you move on. This is the most important tool. This is the most important thing you will learn is how to manage this thing, because if you don't, it'll do fine on its own, but you will not move to the top of the pyramid into self-actualization. So the brain is massively complicated, but don't let that scare you. There's basically two parts we need to know about. There is the base brain, what they call the reptilian brain. That's on the top of your spinal cord, and that's the part that keeps you breathing and keeps your heart pumping and so forth. But it also takes in information, and it doesn't think, it just wants to keep you safe. I can't say that often enough. It wants to keep you safe. It doesn't think, it doesn't plan, it just says, do I need to run away or am I okay? That's it. It sees everything in black and white. It's not logical. It doesn't think. It just says, are we safe? And it's a very high calling, and it's done very well for gazillions of years, but we don't need it to be that hyper-vigilant anymore. We are so much more safe than we used to be when we were, hunter-gatherers out on the plains of Africa, and we were being hunted ourselves. We don't need that anymore. But this part of our brain, this base brain, still functions that way. So it's illogical, totally fear-based. It wants to keep you safe. It is simple. It's either safe or it's not, black or white. It's this or it's that. No details. Doesn't care. Am I keeping my person safe or am I not? That's all it wants to do. And if you do nothing, this part filters all information, and it rarely gets to your higher brain. What I'm going to ask you to do is realize that this is going on. That's most of the battle. Just realize what's going on, and then say, okay, base brain, reptilian brain, you can just relax. I've got this higher brain here, and it can think things through. Now, your base brain goes, no, that's scary. You're going to hurt us. And you can say, no, just relax. You're doing your job. Good job. Thank you. But we are going to move to a little higher level here and think some of these things through. But you need to know that that's going on, and you need to know how it functions. And you need to do this deliberately. It doesn't happen naturally, I don't think. Now, this idea that we are fear-based can be exploited, and it is exploited every day. Advertisers, the most advertising says, you're not happy, you could be happier. Oh, no, you're not happy. Buy this product, you'll be happier. Politicians, preachers, if they can make you angry and or afraid, they have your loyalty and your money. And you think about it, that's what's going on in a lot of politics today. They just want to scare the bejeebers out of you, and they're looking for the people who only think with their brainstem. People who have higher functioning brains and know how to use them don't fall for that trickery. So we're really talking critical thinking skills here. Well, it is a skill. It is something you learn, you practice, and you put into practice. And that's what I'm talking about here, how to develop critical thinking skills. Now, your base brain's going, oh, no, we're gonna get hurt. You're going to make a mistake. You're going to all this stuff. Well, yeah, maybe. We'll talk about that. But it's okay. We're going to be just fine. How do you do this? Well, first of all, one of the things I say is you need to learn how science works, because a base brain hates science because scientists have a method for determining what is real. But scientists also realize that sometimes they make mistakes and they don't know everything. Well, your base brain hates that. No, we want to know everything or forget it. Well, science doesn't work that way. Science learns things and knows things and then says, but there could be more. There is more. And so we move on. While your base brain hates that, your higher brain needs to learn to live with that kind of squishiness on the edge when it comes to science. The reptilian brain looks into the future because it wants to keep us safe. But we can't see the future. The future is a black hole. Well, that's pretty scary. Well, that's why we hate change so much. We don't know what's coming, and we don't like that. We like certainty, and we want to know what's coming, and if it's not safe, we want to avoid it. Well, we can't know the future. You're just going to have to let go of that and see what happens. That's how higher functioning works. That's how critical thinking works. Have a little faith in yourself that you're going to be able to figure things out in the future and move forward. There's a lot of things we can do to mitigate our thinking and to make it work for us. One of the things is realizing about confirmation bias. There's something about our brain that just loves to be correct. It hates to make mistakes. And we'll talk more about making mistakes. There's a whole episode on making mistakes. But we don't want to be wrong, so we come up with an opinion, and then our brain notices everything that confirms that opinion. If something contradictory comes in, we tend to dismiss it. Now, that's not a bad thing, but that is the way it is. And you need to understand that everybody's brain works that way. Confirmation bias. What's the solution? Just realizing it and realizing, okay, I need to take in more information. And that's the way you do it. It's that simple. Our brain loves to know what caused something. So cause and effect. Okay, this happened. What caused that? Oh, we just have to know, even though sometimes we can't. And you think, well, I got sick while I ate at that restaurant. Well, you don't know that, probably. It might have been the restaurant you ate before. It might have been something else. It might have been. What caused it? And your brain, once it latches on to something that it's pretty sure this happened and that was the outcome. It is so difficult to get beyond that thinking. But you, being a person looking for all the tools to get beyond coping into thriving, you are going to say, you know what? I guess I don't know all that. Let's wait and see. Anytime you hear yourself or someone else say, it's just common sense, I want you to see red rockets and flags going up. Common sense? There's nothing common about it. And the people who say common sense, what they really mean is anyone who agrees with me has common sense. Well, get off your high horse. You don't know everything, and come on back down to reality here. It's not common sense. That when you say it's just common sense, you're dismissing a lot of potentially useful information. Don't do it. There's something about our brains that just loves rhymes. Anytime you hear a rhyme, it tends to believe it. And it's great for advertising. But if you can come up with a rhyme and you're trying to convince people of something, brains just love it. They just nibble it up and consume it and go, oh yeah, that's true. It's not Adam and Eve and not Adam and Steve. It's Adam and Eve, well, that's fine. It rhymes, but it's still nonsense. And there's 100 other examples of that. But just be aware of that. Just because something rhymes doesn't mean it's true. And just because you've heard something over and over again, can't teach an old dog new tricks, doesn't mean that's not true too. A lot of times those truisms are true, but a lot of times they're just nonsense. And I mentioned we hate to make mistakes because that goes back to the beginning of this. Why are we so afraid of change when we can, in fact, change with intention? The fact is we're going to feel bad. Things don't turn out the way we wanted, we feel bad. We make a mistake, we feel bad. Oh no. If you can learn to live with hurt feelings, you can do anything. And I'm going to have a whole podcast on mistakes, but for now, just realize that mistakes are very natural. Your base brain hates them because it makes you feel bad, and that makes us feel unsafe. But if you can move beyond that to your higher brain, you are going to be great. You are not going to just cope, you are going to thrive. So the number one thing you can do to move from coping to thriving is to learn how this thing works. Part 2 of the book is all about your thinker, the operator's manual. It is the one operator's manual you truly need. If you're going to move from coping to thriving, you need to know how this thing works and how you can work it. Once you learn that, the whole world opens up to you. I'm going to go into more detail in the next episodes, and of course, it's all in the book. Sure, you should buy my book. Go to my website. That'll take you to the Amazon link. It's a paperback. Here it is. It is an ebook if you want a Kindle. If you want it read to you, I did the audiobook. I'll read it to you. And that's all on my website, danhegstead.com. And if you like what I have here, you could like it, you could hit subscribe, and you could share it with folks. Appreciate that. If you're looking for a good speaker, maybe I'm your guy. All that's on my website, danhegstead.com. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I'm Dan Hegstead. I'm here to help.